yes, you've read the title correct. I'm considering selling my M140i and moving on to bigger and better things because, let's be honest, the content's getting a little bit stale because I've had this car for over a year and this is my third 1 Series. So I think we should get a new car. Now, if you stick around to the end of the video, I want to discuss for you guys how I want to go about getting rid of this and selling it, and also what I want to do in the future on the channel, which sort of direction I want to take with it. But before we do all that, I want to get this car in tip-top condition, so whoever the new owner is, they can just jump in it and enjoy it and not have to worry about problems, because it may look really good, but there's a few issues that are just bugging me a bit. So these are all the parts I'm going to need for today's video. So the first thing we need to sort out is this front end. Now, it probably looks all good on camera, however, there's a few problems with it. So the other day, I went and parked in a car park. Now, normally I reverse into spots because I just prefer to do that so I can just drive away, and also it prevents me from hitting curbs. The other day, I was in a bit of a rush and just drove into a spot, but for some reason, I didn't think about the splitter, and yeah, you can imagine what happened. I drove straight into the curb, and basically the car bounced off the curb. Now, I didn't think I hit it that hard, but apparently I did, and it's left a few marks. Now, if I'm going to be honest, I probably got away with it pretty well. However, there's a couple little marks underneath there which are absolutely fine, right? I can sort that out with a bit of paint in a minute. However, in here, I don't know if you can see in there, it's going to be so hard. In there, the plastic, like, front, I think they call it like a valance, must have taken some impact because it is actually now cracked. Like, in there, the part is not connected. So over here, I've got a replacement part for that one, and that cost me £80 off eBay, a genuine brand new part. But it's not only just hit that down there, it's also thrown out the bumper alignment. So, where it joins the wing, right, on this side and the other side, I think it's even worse on that side, it's completely like it's sticking out, it doesn't sit flush. And also, I don't know if you can tell on camera, the bumper actually goes out there where it should be like straight up. And this doesn't even look that bad anymore because I've already gone over this a few times with some hot water from a kettle, so it clearly didn't do it 100%, so I need to take off the bumper and fix that. He's also pushed these trims out as well. Look, like that shouldn't do that. That's not good. So we need to sort that as well, and it's not lining up there properly, so we need to sort all that out. And yeah, this is the other side. Look at the alignment there. That should be flush, and it was always flush. And yeah, so we need to sort that out. It's almost like push the wing in, look. And on top of all of that, I've got myself a new BMW badge, because if you look down here, it doesn't actually sit flush, this one. And there's a few dents from where the previous sprayer took it off and on again, so that will replace that. And the main issue on the front end is the parking sensor. For some reason, this parking sensor over here will not stop beeping. Now, it does it 90% of the time, but typical, when I wanted to get a video of it, it didn't happen. So you just got to believe me that this one is faulty. It just keeps beeping as if there's something in the way. Originally, I thought it was my plate, but I took the plate off and that made no difference. So yeah, that is definitely faulty. And I've actually gone on eBay and found myself a already painted Melbourne red parking sensor, so we can fit this and hopefully it will fix the problem. And also, whilst the bumper's off, I thought it'd be a good opportunity to fill this area in here with mesh. I don't know why I didn't do it when I first put the bumper on, but when you stand back in certain photos and stuff, these holes just look weird. So I've got myself some more mesh, and we'll cover that in mesh, and that'll just finish off the front end. Now, removing the front bumper is relatively easy, especially when you've removed it so many times like I have, and I'm not going to run you through it properly because you've seen it all before. But I find it best to jack up one side of the car and remove all the wheel arch liner screws, which are 8mm. Remove the arch liner, and then you need to remove the 2 screws connecting the bumper to the wing. Now, these can be an absolute pain. And then do the same to the other side, and then remove the few 8mm that are across the bottom, and then pull off the rubber seal, and then remove all the T27 screws from underneath. And just a quick tip, it's always best to leave one in just so the bumper doesn't fall. So the bumper is now off, and if you take a look down here, this is the damage. Now, I didn't think it was as bad as this, but yeah, it's just completely snapped off. So definitely needs replacing. Now, the next car you buy could contain hidden damage like that. Now, to prevent this from happening and you buying a dodgy vehicle, I 100% recommend you check it out using Car Vertical. Car Vertical provides vehicle history checks for any car or motorcycle. All you need is the VIN or registration. So if we have a look at the M140i on screen here, you can see it's had no mileage discrepancies, not been stolen. However, there is a exclamation mark under accident, so we'll have a look at that in a second. But it's also got no outstanding finance, which is good because you don't want to buy a car with still finance because you have a lot of problems. Scroll down, you can see all the activity. So the activity feed can show like the MOT history, when it's had a plate change, when it was first manufactured, and all sorts. We'll have a look at my car's report in a second to show you a little bit more of that. But yeah, you can scroll down and there's a load more checks here and they're all good, so that's all fine. It's not been stolen in any of these countries. The mileage graph looks all good, but if you scroll down, it does say there's some damage. And if you keep scrolling down, you'll actually see the photos from the crash damage auction site of the actual damage. So this is definitely a car to avoid. So this is an example of a clean report, and this is my actual M140i. And as you can see, it's green ticks all the way around. You scroll down here, it shows when it's first manufactured, the MOTs and stuff, and also that it's only had this one plate change, which I think is quite a cool thing to know, because if it's had loads of plate changes in the past, like private plates, most likely people who modified their cars are going to have a private plate. So to me, it kind of says that it's been owned by like a non-car enthusiast sort of person. So yeah, my private plate is the first one to ever go on the car. But if you scroll down here, you can see all the other green ticks. It's not been scrapped, it's not been used as a taxi, a rental car, all that sort of stuff. Not been sold in these countries. As you can see, look, there's a mileage graph looking all good. It tells you the specs and all sorts. So if you're looking to buy a new car or want to go ahead and check out a report of your own car, I highly recommend you click the link in the description and use code BB10 for 10% off. Now, a massive thank you to Car Vertical for sponsoring the video. These guys really do help out the channel, so I appreciate it a lot.
I've been searching.
So with the part removed, we can take a look at it, and yeah, definitely need replacing. And also, the other side had cracks in it too. And now it's time to unpackage the new one and get it installed.
And there we have it. That is the new piece on, and everything is screwed in absolutely fine. Everything's in the right order. It's all looking good.
And with that all done, it's now time to replace the parking sensor, and then we're going to crack on with doing the mesh. And before we put the bumper back on, we're just going to finish it off with a new badge. And boom, just like that, it looks brand new. Okay, so the car is now back together. However, I do apologise, I completely forgot to show me sorting out like the fitment of the bumper and reshaping it. But essentially what I did was I bored the kettle. I did about 2 full kettles worth, put the bumper on the floor and just found the areas that needed bending and like reshaping. Poured a load of hot water on it, not too much though, because obviously you don't want to burn the paint, but poured enough hot water on it to sort of allow it to flex. And then I bent it in place, held it there, and then let it sort of go cold again, and it just set in place.
So now the fitment is pretty much bang on. It actually goes down and straight there now and sort of in like that way. There's no kink around the headlight anymore, which looks really good. And this side over here just fits so much better. It just fits around the headlight better, everything. And also the other bits are looking really good as well, like the mesh down there. It just doesn't catch your eye as much anymore, which is perfect. And then up here, just a little subtle difference with the badge.
I know the badge wasn't that bad, but for the sake of like £10, I thought I might as well change it just to make this car in the best condition as possible. Now, not all is well. We do still have a problem with the parking sensor. Since fitting the new one, I've been out on many drives and it's still just either continuously beeping or just like beeping pretty fast when there's nothing in the way. There's no plate on the front or nothing. So I'm guessing it's not going to be a faulty sensor really, because the chance of both being faulty is pretty, well, it's pretty unlucky. So I assume it's maybe the loom, or maybe something needs resetting. I don't know, but please do let me know in the comments section down below if you've had the same problem. I'd love to hear what you guys say and see if you've actually come across this before. But anyway, we'll come back to that problem. We've got other things to sort. So what I'm doing here is just touching up any areas on the splitter that I scraped it with some black paint. And now I'm going to replace the gear selector trim, because for some reason mine's got a load of marks on it. So it's just a case of heating it up, removing it and replacing it with a new one. And boom, just like that, looks miles better. And then to finish it off and putting a fresh set of wiper blades on.
Right, so the next thing we're going to sort is quite a common problem, and the problem is to do with the coolant.
Now, some people say in the forums that B58s do struggle with coolant loss. Now, with my old 140, I didn't have a single problem with it. However, this one, I have noticed that the coolant in one of the reservoirs is going down a little bit. However,
I'm not sure if you guys know, but there's quite a common problem to do with these reservoir tanks, and that is the actual cap itself. So if I unscrew this cap, there we go, look, you might see around the edges of the cap, all there, and all the way around here, do you see all the white stuff?
now that is dried coolant, and essentially what happens is the coolant actually leaks out of the coolant cap. Now what I'm going to do is give it a little bit of a wipe just to clean off any old coolant in there. There we go, that is nice and clean. And then I've actually gone out and bought a replacement piece for this. So this is a brand new genuine one from BMW. This should hopefully solve the problem. So we just screw it in just like that, and that should solve the problem.
If you look at the old cap, look at where it's been leaking. So yeah, that's good enough for the bin now.
So yeah, just a simple fix. Now if you do own a 140 or 240 or whatever, it's definitely worth going checking your coolant and just making sure that it's up to the maximum, and also just check around the actual coolant cap, see if it's leaking. If it is, order a replacement part.
So I actually found some of those door light projectors in my room, so I thought I'd shove those on as well, but I completely forgot to record the other side.
I'm such an idiot, I forgot to click record. So the next thing I want to show you before we get onto the last main thing is something that I've never actually seen online before, until I got a message from a mate to say you need this, and that is a M140i badge for the M2 style bumper. Now I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure if it's for me, but photos make it look good, but let's just have a look. So essentially the kit comes with this little piece here, which you would obviously peel the tape off, so we're just going to put that in there because it does actually hold, right? That goes in there like that, imagine it was taped, and then this piece then tapes on top. Like, I really don't know if it would suit it, or it would look weird. What I might do is stick these pieces together and then wedge it in there, and then I can stand back and see what I think.
I actually don't mind that. I think that looks right.
You know what, I think I quite like it, so I'm going to keep it, and you know what, it's one of those modifications I can always remove if I don't like it in the end, but yeah, I think it looks kind of cool. If you want to go ahead and check it out, I'll leave the guy's Instagram in the description down below, and drop him a message and he can send it out to you. Now, can you remember a little while ago when I made the video to say that my boot inside here was leaking? I thought I fixed it, and I thought that by using that screw that we used would solve it, but a few months later I decided to have a look again, and there's a little bit more water in there. So I've actually been speaking to a few people, and they've told me to replace the actual like vent in the back of there because the seal sometimes gets old and then stops sealing. So I've actually gone out and bought a brand new one with a brand new seal on it. So hopefully if we install this, it should finally fix the problem.
But obviously firstly we've got to take this all apart. Now that means take off the rear bumper, and also we're going to take out this trim here so we can dry any water that's left in there.
So when we did this last time, I didn't realise that this panel came out pretty easily. So what I did was I undid this, took everything out, and then like just unscrewed everything and pulled it out through here. But little did I know that this trim panel here just comes off in like seconds.
And when we do take that panel out, I've also got a replacement one over here because this one is a bit of a state.
Like down here, look, I don't know if you can probably tell on camera, you probably be able to see that, it's probably too dark. But there's like a load of like burnt marks, and there's a few more over there. So for the sake of like £19, I think it was on eBay, or £20, I've bought a really good condition second-hand one, so that will go in there instead.
So yes, as you can tell, the fix didn't fix it because that is the water that I've just found in there.
So if we have another look in here, look, you can see that down here isn't too wet. Actually, no, it is. Yeah, it's a little bit wet, but it's not as bad as when I first saw it. When I first saw it, it was like an inch of water.
So on the other side of that is this seal here, and this is what goes sort of like brittle and then stops sealing. So we basically need to get access to that, but to do that we need to take off the bumper, so we'll do that in a second.
Any of you do have a 1 Series, which I can imagine quite a few of you do, definitely go ahead and have a look in your boot,
and just on the left hand side just have a look in there, and if you put your fingers down there you might be able to feel a little bit of water, because apparently this is so common.
Now I know you're probably thinking that yes, there is electrical wires in there, but the way that it sort of leaks down, it sort of misses them. But by all means, if it does happen to you, make sure you check all the wiring and make sure everything's dry, not corroded or anything like that, because it could cause quite a headache, and could be quite expensive if it gets into like the Harman Kardon system. So yeah, I've checked it all, mine's all good, but yeah, make sure you check that.
So finally I now have access to the parts, we can now swap it out. But apparently where it actually leaks is it comes down here and then sort of sits on there and then leaks in there. So let's get this removed, let's get inside all dry, and then put the new one on.
So I thought I'd end the video with a bit of a sit-down chat to explain a few things about the channel, about the car and all the rest of it. I'm not with the car now because I've sent it to my local BMW specialist and it's currently having a full service done, so that's good. But first of all, when do I want to sell it? Now there's no rush, and I kind of do want to wait for the right money because there's been a lot of time and effort and money put into the car. So it's not going to be, you know, it could be next week, it could be in 3 months time, like maximum. But yeah, I don't have a date I want to sell it. I kind of want to do a few more more videos and a few more modifications on the car, and then I'll be happy to get rid of it. But those modifications will be done in a few weeks. So yeah, basically from like 3 weeks time onwards really, but we'll just see what happens. Now, how do I actually want to go about selling it? Now, the ideal situation, the ideal scenario for me is I want to raffle it. I want all you guys to have a opportunity to win the car. I've had a lot of DMs to say, you know, can I buy the car for you? And I've had some serious sort of inquiries about the car, but I do really want to raffle it. I think that'd be a really good opportunity. I know it's classic YouTuber, like, do you know what I mean, to raffle a car, but it does give everyone the equal opportunity to be able to, you know, chance to win the car. Now, I would potentially be interested in private selling it to maybe one of you guys, and if you are genuinely interested, drop me a message on Instagram. I'll leave it on screen here. Now, what's the next plans for the channel? A lot of people who know me know sort of where I want to go with the channel, and I kind of want to switch it up a little bit, because I'm going to be honest, what I do now is good and I enjoy it, but to really progress and make this YouTube channel, you know, bigger and continue pushing out interesting content, I kind of do need to switch it up, because as I said at the start of the video, I've had 3 1 series now, and I've had 2 M140s, and it's just getting a bit stale. I'm doing the same thing, and all the other modifications I want to do on the car are quite expensive, so it's time to really move on. And to be fair, like, I could go out and get some nice coilovers and LSD and stuff, but realistically, you guys really are not going to appreciate it that much. So for content wise, it's not really worth it. Like, for example, if I bought a car and made it handle really well and did all the power and all the rest of it, but it still looks standard, realistically on social media, it's not going to do that well, let's be honest. So to make the car look good and still drive pretty good, then that's sort of the way I went about it. But I know it's not obviously all about content, but at the same time, I do really like to do well on YouTube. I've been doing it for over 7 years now, so, you know. Yeah, anyway, enough ranting. So the way I want to go about the channel, now, I want your full opinions in the comment section down below. But I want to get 2 cars, okay? I want to get rid of the M140, I want to get 2 cars. I want to get a daily, okay? And this daily is going to be something that I can still do content on. So I'm not going to get like a Passat again or anything like that. I want to get a daily that I can do content on. Now, I've already secured the daily, not the actual car, but I've secured the idea of the daily. I know exactly what car I want to get and pretty much the spec I want to get. And it is no more than £5,000, okay? So it's be about 4 grand for this daily. And this is a daily that I'll be able to do many videos on, and potentially on a lot of channels. This could be my only car. It is actually a really cool car, and it's a car that not many people know the potential of this car. And I feel like when I reveal it, you're all gonna go, I'm just gonna unsubscribe and leave the video here. But honestly, this car has so much potential. I know a lot of people with them, and what you can do with them is pretty amazing. So that's my plan. I'm gonna get a daily. And then, now this is where a lot of comments are going to come, I reckon. I want to buy a crashed, damaged car. Now, I know there's a lot of YouTubers out there doing it, but realistically, in the UK, there's not too many, especially of my age, and doing it pretty much at home. There's not many people doing it. Bear in mind, I'm 22 years old. I mean, I can name a few people. Obviously you've got, like, Saving Salvage and Salvage Nation and Matt Armstrong and Tavares in the States. But I just want to... Oh, and also Chris Slicks as well. I really like his channel and his content, but now my phone's going. But yeah, I watch all these guys, and watching it really gives me a buzz, and I'm like, I could do that. Like, I have a YouTube channel, I like cars, I could do that. And what would be interesting is that the fact that I don't know anything, like, about cars really, like mechanical wise, like the mechanical side, like the actual technical side and mechanical side, I'm not that good on, which I think will make the content interesting. But I do have friends and stuff, and like Hatton Energy Motorsport, who will probably be involved with the bigger jobs, and he can sort of teach me how to do stuff. I'll still do it, but he'll sort of help me along the way. And I just think, you know, buying a crash damaged car could switch up the channel a little bit, and just bring something new to the channel. And let me know what you think about that. I've got 2 or 3 ideas of cars that I could buy, but it just means that I can get a better car for cheaper, if that makes sense. So like a car that's worth 30 grand, you probably get it for like 20 because it's crashed. Do you know what I mean? So I can get a better car and build it over the next 6 to 12 months or whatever, and have a really cool car at the end of it, and then potentially raffle that off as well. So I don't want to get slated for copying other YouTubers, but at the same time, there's not realistically loads of YouTubers doing it, and maybe I can find a car that they've not done, and I will still do it my own style. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm young, I don't know anything about like the mechanical side of things. Like, I could take a bumper off, I can change this, I can change that, but but any major work I'm not too great on. So I think it could be interesting. But anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. Hopefully you like that idea. If you don't, then let me know what you think could be a good idea. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. Also, if you know how to fix my parking sensor, do let me know. It started working absolutely fine this morning, and then when I went out again and drove it, it was beeping again. So it's very hit and miss. But yeah, if you did go ahead and enjoy enjoyed the video, please make sure you leave a like, rating, comment and subscribe. And once again, a massive thank you to Car Vertical for sponsoring the video. But I shall catch you guys very, very soon in a brand new video. Take care.